Time is X minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Rocket Hour, episode 42. Keep climbing up the charts. I was thinking, Aaron, maybe we would do something for 50. I think we would be at Keeneland right around 50. So we might have to do something special. Maybe we can get a special guest on. I don't think I'm going to be there. I don't presume you're going to be there either. So we can't do anything in person. We didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday. Give us your experience of Will Rogers on opening day. I didn't even get a chance to ask you. You said it was crowded, that there were 35 people. I knew you were joking. You kind of just tell us real quick before we get into some stuff we saw yesterday and things like that, just kind of how it felt to be back at the track. It's your home track, pretty much your track that you kind of grew up with and watch all the time. I'll never watch a Will Rogers race, but I know you do. So kind of just give us that inclination of how you felt being back at the track, obviously being with your dad, just seeing the horses and the animals up in person and just kind of being so close to the action, something most of us haven't been able to do in quite some time.
Yeah, so I went opening day last year to Will Rogers, which was my last day at the track until the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland in November, which is just a long, long time. For somebody like me that likes to go everywhere. And then I went to Remington once after the Breeders' Cup. And then, yes, Will Rogers was the very next one. So another big break in the action there. But it was great. It was great to be back, just to watch the horses run live. I don't care what level it is. When you haven't seen it in a long time, you appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. Saw Evil Steve was there. Got to see him. It's always good. It had been, over a year. I can't even remember the last time I saw him. So it was good. And it just reminded me that the best part about this is going to the track with your friends. And that's what we got to get back to. So Will Rogers, a lot of fun. I'll probably go back maybe Monday, maybe this coming Monday.
Well, it doesn't sound like you'll be away from the track too long. Yeah, Will Rogers, like for me, there's really nothing that's too close by. I mean, Monmouth was close, but it's like an hour and 15 minutes. It's a little far. Mm-hmm. And Belmont, they're not allowing anyone. I shouldn't say that. At the time, they weren't. Maybe things will change. I think their meet is just under a month away. I think it's like the 22nd or 23rd, I believe. So Aqueduct starts to, kind of wrap themselves up and Belmont starts. Maybe I'll be able to get out there. Hopefully, at least for the Belmont Stakes in early June, we can make that happen. Yeah, that would be the start of something. So it was nice. Aaron was able to go again. Obviously, we're not near each other, so at least one of us was able to get to the track. Obviously, like he said, just being with your friends or your buddies or familiar faces, whatever the case may be, it's nice to do that. So I'm happy you got a chance to share that here. We had a nice day yesterday. We were able to get 3 of 4. That final race kind of burned me a little bit. There were some decent prices alive too, a couple $100 to a bunch of horses. None of the closers ever came running at the end, so we'll get a chance to talk about that. Let's get into a few different topics, though. We'll start with the Close Shave Rocket launch brought to you by Manscaped. Support for the Rocket Hour is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for listeners today, 20% off plus free shipping with the code ROCKET20 at manscaped.com. You know what? I didn't have anything that I desperately wanted to talk about, but there was something that came across my timeline yesterday. And that was Jim Boeheim and Buddy Boeheim on every social media platform possible. They were on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, who I listened to a little bit during the day. They were just on with First Take. I think they were on the Dan Patrick Show. What I'm getting at, Aaron, I'll throw it to you. You don't have to agree. Is this Syracuse story, win or lose, is this the best story going in college basketball? Or is there another story to you that you think it maybe grabs more headlines or that you're interested in? Or are you kind of locked in and seeing how far this one can go?
I'd say it's second. I would say Oral Roberts in the Sweet 16 is probably first. Buddy Boeheim, Jim Boeheim, probably second. And then Sister Jean would probably be third, right? Because we've already seen that. Like this is a rerun for them. So Oral Roberts has to be number one, and I know it makes me laugh as well. And a fun fact, Dennis, Oral Roberts is located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, just about 30 minutes from Will Rogers Downs. So there's that. But yeah, those are the three. Those are the three major stories. But yeah, I mean the Boeheim thing is cool, and I think Jim Boeheim's been around for so long, and I wouldn't describe him as a media darling, but, I mean, he's a big deal. He's a big name. And to have a son that is playing so well, yeah, it's a big story. It's a lot of fun. And those are two notable people where with Oral Roberts, it's like, who are you going to call that people are going to know about? like who's going to be on The Herd? The coach? Okay, what's his name? I still don't know it. I couldn't tell you one player on Oral Roberts.
Yeah, no, I know there are two players. One of them was actually the leading scorer in the country, Max Asmus. He was 28, 29 points a game, and he did give Arkansas a ton of buckets when they played earlier in the year. Who knew that an Oral Roberts Arkansas rematch would be a rematch in the Sweet 16? I'm going to throw another one at you. And I think this is going under the radar. I'm not going to pick Syracuse because I do think that's the best story because of the son. I don't think Boeheim alone, but it's because of his son.
Yeah.
Oral Roberts, I'll put up there if they get to the Final Four. We've seen Florida Gulf Coast do this. I'm not saying it's not a big story, but you're right. It's Tulsa, Oklahoma. How many scouts are going to get there to see Max Asmus? Probably not many, especially during COVID. And mind you, they're not even the biggest school in their town. That would be the Tulsa Golden Hurricane.
Yeah.
In the AAC. Now they stink. Don't get me wrong, but they're not even the biggest school, and they finished fourth in the Summit League. It's what Florida Gulf Coast had a lot of dunks, and they were kind of Showtime a little bit. So I think people latched on it, and I think Max Asmus and O'Banner, his sidekick, his co-host, they can score 50 or 60, so they have some talent as well. I want to go to Gonzaga because this is the first time that a team, I think, since 1976 doesn't have Duke or Kentucky, but also the first time we could have an undefeated national champion. We talked about Gonzaga. If they don't do it now, they won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's true. It's unlikely, maybe, because the stars seem to be aligning. I guarantee we won't have an undefeated national champion again for quite some time if it doesn't happen. And I don't like people in sports. Like, why do people like the Chiefs, for example? It's because Patrick Mahomes, he's a recognizable face. People like to see dominance. People remember the dynasties, the Warriors dynasty, the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, in baseball, the Yankees, or the Patriots. Like, this will go down as one of the best college basketball teams ever if they can accomplish that. And I've told you, and I've said this for months, so anyone that wants to question me, I told Aaron, this is the most talented college basketball team I have seen in my entire life. College. Now, that doesn't mean when Melo was on the team, like he became a great pro. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying currently constructed, like the Anthony Davis, Devin Booker team. This team is more talented now. That doesn't mean they're going to be better pros. So don't tell me that Anthony Davis is better. I just think currently constructed, this team is unreal. And their defense is pretty good also. As an Oklahoma fan, you saw firsthand. Or I know you were at Will Rogers, but I'm sure you watched some of the replays and highlights and listened. And they could score in so many ways. So even Jim Boeheim acknowledged that they are the favorite. I think those are the top three stories. And I kind of think the Muss Bus at Arkansas, that's a good story too. Aaron and I have been very high on Nate Nate Oates and Coach Musselman down in Arkansas, 2 young coaches that I think are going to establish themselves in the elite group. Let's get to some horse racing, though. That's what we're here for. That was the Close Shave Rocket launch brought to you by Manscaped. Use the code ROCKET20. You could check that out during the show, after the show, tomorrow, tonight. It's all good stuff. A few people are saying that this is a Zags time. And don't sleep on Florida State. I would agree. Do not sleep on the Seminoles. Leonard Hamilton. He seems like the guy who never ages. He's 71, but he looks great. He looks great for his age. Jim Boeheim's like an older mid-70s. Leonard Hamilton is a younger 71. He looks great. Yeah. He's in fantastic shape. Let's get to, again, some horse racing stuff. There aren't too many scratches today, which are nice. Good weather down in Hallandale Beach. You always like to see that. The summertime can be a little tough to deal with, a lot of storms, but right now we're still okay. We'll start with race 7, and we'll throw it to Aaron. We'll scroll our tickets here. We have a smaller field. This is, I'm at race 10 on my sheet. Here we go. Claiming 20,000 through 16,000 for 4-year-olds and upward, going 5 furlongs on the turf. A compact field of 8. Aaron, where did you start to kick us off in this sequence?
Well, yeah, I'm going to go with a $5 Exacta box, 6-7 to start this off. So I'm going to go with a Mike Maker Exacta box to kick us off here. Listen, I think the 7 Star Weaver makes a ton of sense. You watched the race last time out. This horse broke really poorly, just got off a step slow and just couldn't quite get that positioning that he likes to get early in the race, which is either on the lead or very close to the lead. All of a sudden, Star Weaver finds himself in 5th, 6th place at the backside. That's not where he wants to be. He still ran well. He only got beat a length. He did finish 5th, but only a length back. So that wasn't horrible. Comes right back the same level today. I draws pretty much to the outside, just one horse outside of him. I think with a decent break, he gets the trip. He either goes to the lead or stalks right off the pace. I think he turns the tables on him. So I do like the 7. But I think Mike Maker's other entry in here, the 6 King of Rock, is interesting. It's a first off the claim for Maker, so that's obviously a good angle that we'll talk about a lot. The horse won 2 in a row at this distance, and then last time out was 6th in that same race with Star Weaver. But now we're getting Maker. Now we're getting Castellano. I kind of like both of Maker's entries here. It's not that I don't like the 4, who's going to be the second choice and who beat both of these horses, but I just think there's factors here where the 6 and 7 can turn the table and kind of have a nice, it's not going to be a huge Exacta, but if it comes in 6-7, yeah, we'll take it. So I'm going to go the Maker Exacta here with the 6 and the 7.
Yeah, I kind of like the 6 over the 7. I did use the 1-4-6-7, excuse me, because I think this is when you get to these like lower level claiming races, I think they're all pretty even. I think it's very difficult to make a claim for a standout unless they're dropping in class, but usually they won't drop in class this far. They usually would go like from allowance to like a 40,000 claimer. Like they're not going to drop this far. So if I had to choose between the 6 and 7, I'll choose the 6, and here's why. The last time out, first of all, the Maker angle from Michelle Nehe, I think it's Nehe, a drastic change. And remember a long time ago we talked about jockeys? Well, here's little old Javier Castellano making his way up the win percentage charts when everyone told me I was nuts. Well, I'm not nuts. I watch a lot of racing, and I told you, not you, I told everyone, Javier Castellano, arguably still a top 3 rider. And I'm dead serious about this. Same thing with Jose Ortiz. These 2 guys are really, really good. And yes, Irad is probably a little bit better right now, but Javier's again, he was hurt. So he's kind of finding his rhythm. It took a while. He's shot up to 19%. He's doing a fantastic job, and I think that's a massive upgrade. The biggest thing for King of Rock, though, he started turf sprinting, and he did it against winners twice. He actually won 2 races in a row and then lost. But look at that first quarter the last time out, 21 and flat. Horses at this level are not going to hold on. So the fact he only lost by 4 1/4 lengths I thought was impressive, as opposed to a horse like Star Weaver, who was well out of it and was like, I thought, past tired horses after rewatching that race. So I'm not saying the 7 can't win, but I look at the 6 and I'm like, I'm a lot more impressed to hold on to finish 6th versus finishing 5th in what looked like a blanket finish. And he did start a little slow, Star Weaver. So I think that's interesting. The 4 Sovereign Warrior just kind of makes sense. One horse I did want to talk about a little bit was Cool Hand Coupe. I'm not sure where he fits in talent-wise. I don't think he's probably good enough to win. But I do know in that same race at the 20,000 level, finished 4th by 2 3/4, which if you like the 6 King of Rock, don't you kind of have to like Cool Hand Coupe? I would think you do. And then the 2 races on the dirt, I don't know what the heck they were doing with that. Those races were horrible. This horse kind of belongs at this level, and I think he could be sitting the right trip. And we saw this yesterday, and we'll get into it. There was a turf route, 2-turn turf route. It's not about how good you are, if that makes sense. I think it's sometimes about the position. And I think the one's just going to be sitting the right trip. That's what we talk about, the perfect ride or the right trip, all kind of under the same umbrella. I think the 1 might just be sitting the right trip because the 4 might be a little bit too far back, and the 7 has some speed, but I don't know what that was last time out. And Mike Maker had this horse is getting started a step slow. I don't know what that was. So I think if the 7 goes out and the 6 goes out, maybe the 1 just sits the right trip. Did you consider the 1 at all? I know 6 to 1's a little bit of a price, and he needs things to break the right way, I'll admit. But I think he kind of belongs in the conversation.
Yes, I did. I did use Cool Hand Coupe in the top 4. I love that the horse is getting back to the turf. Obviously, I mean that seems to be where this horse does its best running. I'm like you said, I'm not really sure. The only thing I can think of is the horse did win a couple of off the turf dirt races back in Laurel, so maybe they just kind of thought, well, we've lost a few on the turf. Let's try these dirt races. But this is where he belongs. So I'm with you. As far as the trip goes, I think you could be right. I like that Paco Lopez is aboard this horse. Obviously he's rode him in the past, but that last race on the turf where he kind of just sent the horse, kind of think that's what they're gonna have to do again here. So I'm with you. I think we're alike because my top 4 also 1, 4, 6, 7. So I think we saw this one pretty similar.
Yeah, and that's always good. I don't think we could touch on a few different comments here. Dennis, he's talking about a Maker wheel. Jared Bush says, Dennis, I think you got to use the 5. Let's talk about the 5, okay. Rocket Blast, a little bit. I mean, I don't hate this horse. And the reason why, if you look at the 2 turf races, the most recent ones, which was July 3rd and August 27th, wasn't horrible. But the problem is his best races have come on the dirt. Mm-hmm. So can he get back to those turf efforts that might make him okay? Possibly. But I think there's enough field. I don't hate him. I can make a case for that horse, but I do think that his best surface is probably the dirt moving forward.
Yeah, I would describe him as a wild card a little bit because he didn't run poorly at this distance in Maiden Claiming Company, but couldn't get the job done. I would just describe him as a wild card. I don't think he's a total toss. If you're going to go deep, I definitely think that is one that you could consider using. Or like Jared, you just posted, use him underneath. That's not the worst play you could make. He could spice up things. So, yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah, exactly. I think using him underneath would make sense here. He is just a wild card. He's extremely, extremely unreliable. So that's not a horse that I want to use. And I don't like. It's one thing if he was dropping out of a 40,000 claimer and he's unreliable, and it's like, all right, I'm interested. I mean, even if you just want to take the race on the dirt because that was a 20,000 claiming level, no one can make the claim that now that he gets back to the turf, he's going to improve by close to 13 lengths. I mean, that's a big stretch. And he just hasn't been in good form. I mean, he hasn't won a race since October 28th and hasn't been close since that either. Let's move on to the 8th race. Claiming 35,000 to 25,000 for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward. Another field of 8. I'll start here. I went a tad shorter. I only used 3. I want to talk about the horse that I put on top, Miss Mishak or Mishak. Georgina Baxter does a fantastic job when she gets runners dropping in to these types of races from different barns. So Joe Orsino had this horse in some stakes races here at Gulfstream. That was a long time ago. That's the question mark with her. She's talented enough to win, and if she runs anything like her last race, she will, but we haven't seen her since May. So we're talking a 10-month layoff. That's why I didn't single. I think she's much the best. And the thing that tells me even more, the 7, R. Callie Kim, is out. That's the other Georgina Baxter runner. Now, I'm not sure if she got the call, but someone would say, well, it's different owners. Well, not in this case. It's Averill Racing. They don't want to maybe put their runners against each other. I actually used the 7 as well early on, but the 7 being out makes me like the 5 even more. Again, the problem is the layoff. These claiming runners off a layoff like that, if you want to take that short price and single, that's fine, but you have to take that, unfortunately. What about you? You made a win bet with one of my favorite trainers coming from Woodbine. I don't hate her. It's a horse I used also. What did you use? The 2, Twirling Faith, as a win bet here?
Well, first and foremost, let me defend the Woodbine thing just real quick, because the horse did win at Gulfstream last time out at the 35K level. So it's okay. Don't get mad at me right off the bat, because at least the horse proved that she can win at Woodbine or at Gulfstream. It's a deal like this. I looked at this race. I didn't see a lot of speed outside of this one. So I think Twirling Faith, 2 horse, gets out to the lead. We got an aggressive rider, Paco Lopez. So that kind of almost assures me that, yes, that horse will get the trip, or that we hope, as long as the horse breaks. 9-2. I didn't think this horse needed to be any higher odds than some of the other ones. Not that I dislike them. I just see it as an even field. So if I can get a decent price on a Paco Lopez horse that might be loose on the lead here, I'm going to take a swing with the $10 win wager on number 2, Twirling Faith. I just think this horse has enough ability here to hold these horses off with the right trip. And it's not like, last time out, this horse won by 2. It's not like she was fading, just holding on. So they're going to have to come get her. This is definitely a tougher field than what she faced in that last race. I'm not going to, argue anybody that says that. I wouldn't argue with you. I certainly don't mind your ticket and using 2 or 3 here. I think that makes sense. But for what I'm trying to do and the way I'm approaching it, I just think the odds are good enough here for the 2, Twirling Faith, and the projected trip that I'm going to try to take a swing here, hopefully get a decent price when home.
Yeah, again, I had the 5 not Miss Mishak or Mishak, whatever, not had the layoff, I would have trimmed the ticket and taken the 1 off. I think I could get by with the 2 or 5. And I had the 2 for second, or not for second, my second horse, because I didn't use this horse last time out because I didn't know about the Woodbine thing. But you're right, she proved that she could win here. The ironic part is this is Josie Carroll's only win of the meet. It was with this filly.
How about that?
So maybe Josie Carroll can make it 2 in a row with this one. It doesn't seem like she's going to win anytime soon. I'll never forget during a Pegasus, Jared's making the case for Josie Carroll, and I was like, look, do not. Please do not. You are wasting your money. Please do not. And you could tell my theory still proves true because she has 1 win. It's with this filly, no seconds, no thirds. So it's not like she's just missing. And sometimes that happens. We'll look at a trainer and in 13 starts, 1 win, 3 seconds and 2 thirds. And it's you know what? She's right there as a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
She's right. She's not close. None of these runners are close except this one. But I did use her. The other one I used was She's All Woman. And you could say, well, we don't know how she's going to run. Maybe is it the IRAT thing? I had to go back to October 18th of last year, claiming 25 condition. Kind of like that race. Now, that was the last time she was in a claiming race. I don't like to go that far back because, especially to Gulfstream Park West, once they hit Gulfstream Park West, October, November, the races aren't great. And a lot of runners good ones will stay up north. They won't come down yet. They'll stay at Belmont or, Kentucky or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of like this one. And I have a feeling you talked about horses that have to come get Twirling Faith. She's a woman, might not have to come get her. She might just be sitting right there. And Irad is definitely aggressive, and more aggressive than Tyler is, Tyler Gaffleone. So I just thought the trip made sense. I would have loved, again, this is all hinging on the 5 with the layoff, because I think the 5 is just much more talented than this group. The layoff is too big of a concern at the claiming level. This isn't Chad Brown with, I don't know, Dunbar Road. I don't know. Pick, you know, like when a horse like that with a crazy layoff, it's like you don't worry about it. I just picked Dunbar Road off the top of my head. But it's just one of those things that I can't go short. And the Georgina Baxter scratching the other filly or mare out is big to me as well. She might not even be at the track. Who knows? But either way, she's out. Let's go to the back half of the card. It's allowance optional claiming $62,500 for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward, going 5 furlongs on the turf. Another turf sprint. Aaron, where did you go here in race 9?
Yeah, I thought this one was a little more, wide open. I ended up landing, and I debated this one for a long time. I thought about, let's get fancy. Let's kind of play a wheel, a try. But with 7 horses, it gets a little difficult to do that, and where you're really confident that you're going to make money, or at least make enough to make it worth the bet. I didn't really like anybody to win either. I kind of debated that for a little while. I landed on a $5 exacta box, 3-7. So I like the one Foxy Bell a little bit, but I'm going to try to beat that horse with a couple of middle range prices, I guess is the good way to describe him. So a $5 exacta box with the 3 and the 7. Boy, let's hope Paco Lopez has a good day. I've got this guy used a lot. He's the rider of the 3 Lindsay's Lucky Lady. Look, this is pretty self-explanatory, I think, when you look at it. The horse won an allowance, in December by a half length going gate to wire. It looks like this horse should be able to get the lead again. Hey, what do you know? Paco aboard a speed horse, so that's usually a good sign. And look, just the last 2 races, just up against too tough a competition. 2 races back, $75,000 stakes here at Gulfstream. Set the pace, faded to 5th, only beaten 4 3/4. It wasn't horrible. And then, Tampa, just kind of a non-effort there. I just kind of drew a line through it. But I think back where she needs to be today. So I did put the 3 on top. The 7 Spun Glass, this is kind of a Ricky's Rocket legacy horse, right? Like we talk about this horse a little bit in previous shows. Just another one, I think, back to where she belongs and getting a firm turf course today. I think that's going to help. And I kind of like the outside draws in these turf sprints. I kind of just think it gives the riders options here. Castellano aboard today, and I don't hate that at all. So I thought the 3-7 could kind of pull mild upsets here over the 1 and the 5.
Yeah, I don't think the 7 Spun Glass is that much worse than a horse like the 3 or the 5. So I kind of understand where you're coming from. The problem for me when I look at Spun Glass, she's been dreadful this year at this level. Like, and maybe the odds indicate that she shouldn't have been run that well. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like her odds at 12.5 to 1 and 14.5, almost 15 to 1 kind of indicate she didn't belong. Now, is that a connections overplaying their hand? Potentially. Mm-hmm. But she already lost to Lindsay's Lucky Lady, and she back on December 13th. And Tracy Ann's Legacy she lost to in a Bundantia, whatever, Bundantia Stakes. I don't know how to say that. I get where you're coming from, though. Like, from an exact standpoint, can she finish ahead of Tracy Ann's Legacy? Potentially. Like, I get where you're coming from. And if you were to play like a 3-5-7, you're not going to make any money if the 5 comes in. And if you're going to play a 3-5, you probably won't make any money. There's one horse that I'm interested in, and that's the 2 Violenza. Last year, first, let's throw the dirt race out, the most recent dirt race. I don't know what that was. She's not a dirt runner. The most recent turf races, she wasn't bad.
Mhm.
And the one at Kentucky Downs, some of those horses are really, really talented. It's if you don't know what Kentucky Downs is, it's like a 2-week meet. It's like or 3 weeks, or it's really, really short. It's like the best turf horses in the country, primarily from the Kentucky area, but a few will ship in as well. I kind of like this horse a little bit. Sorry, I was talking about Keeneland and then the Kentucky Downs before that. Sorry, I kind of like her on the turf. And I think she kind of fits if she runs her best race. And at 10-1, I'll take a 10-1 with her over a 7 where I kind of know what I'm getting. Like the 2 is in that wild card boat. The difference with we were talking about another wild card. That wild card was like 7-1 or 8-1. And there were a lot of question marks. I'll take a wild card at a much higher level because I know they're capable of running here. When we're talking about 20,000 claimers, and that was race 7, it's kind of like, she has to run her best race, or he has to run his best race, and it's like you don't trust him. She's running at the allowance level and has done it before at Kentucky Downs, and I think she broke her maiden going 5.5 furlongs. Maybe she wants a little bit longer, but if you throw that one allowance race at Keeneland where she just missed the break, it looked like she can be forwardly placed, and even in her dirt start, she was forwardly placed. What do you think of her a little bit at 10-1? I think she can. I thought that would be a horse, honestly, that was perfect for you because she might get second or third or whatever. I know you went too deep, but I was a little shocked you didn't use her over the horse like the 7, and maybe you could have gone 3 deep or something like that.
Well, and here was the issue. I like this horse, but it's like I kind of wanted to play her in the bottom of a try. Like I had her in the try that I was going to play, and I scrapped it. But I'm with you. I think this is the most interesting horse in the race, and I'm happy to see that this horse is on the ticket for you because I really think this could be the upsetter. You better keep an eye on this too. It's going to go one of 2 ways, okay, and that's why I think it's a good play for you specifically because you've got 2 other horses that you're fairly confident are going to run well, and you kind of just throw this one in, and it's like. It's worth it to put the 2 on the ticket because it's going to pay a lot. But, if the 2 doesn't run well, it's okay. We've got these other ones. So you don't have to quite rely on the horse, which I think is the perfect situation. But, yeah, I think we could see an upsetter here. I'm high on this, too, as well, for many of the reasons that you said.
Yeah, it's interesting because I thought Aaron would have used this one. But in a way, as he kind of throws it back, he's now relying on this horse to run well. I don't need to rely on that horse because I don't really like the 7 Spun Glass because if I'm kind of ranking the horses of like where they should finish, it's probably 5, 3, 7 or 3, 5, 7. And he's hoping that he can beat the 5, Tracy Ann's Legacy. The 2 probably falls into like that 5th or 6th spot. But on the 2's best day, Violenza, on her best day, I think she could win this race. So that variable allows me to use her on the ticket. For a horse like the 7, I kind of know what she is, and I don't think she's better than 3 or 5. So kind of to sum up Aaron's point, it's like, why would I use the 7 when I'm confident in the 3 and the 5? It just doesn't really make sense. So I hope the 2 doesn't get home for your sake. I really hope the 3 gets home for your sake because then we could stay alive. A little 3-7.
Yeah.
But if the 2 got home, I think Aaron would understand why. And I don't think he could be that upset because he did like the horse a little bit. Mm-hmm. Let's go to my favorite maiden claiming 25,000 through 20,000. The only good thing about this race is that it's a 5 furlong sprint, and I like this. There are a lot of horses in here. Oh, there is the 8 is scratched Pretzel, as you can see, an MTO, so we don't have to worry about that horse. So we come into this one with a field of 9, and you can see the one Julie Bird is cut off a little bit. We have a lot of horses. Headlined by my top choice. I'm going to fall for it again, Julie Bird. This is why I did so, right? If we let's eliminate, again, this is one of those, Aaron might look at me and say, like, I don't know why you went through that whole shebang for no reason, but I'll do it anyway. Let's eliminate any of her 2 turn races because I don't think she ran any of those well. Okay, so the Mike Maker thing scared me a little bit. But then this horse gets taken off the turf 2 starts back. The only time we've seen her sprint on the turf, she actually was decent. So, yeah, she's 0 for 6. Yeah, she's running out of chances. If she doesn't win here, I won't use her again. But I think it's fair to give her one more shot on the turf because, again, if this was her second race in this spot on the turf, that's fine. We could throw the dirt race out, and she actually lost to Pretzel, who's the MTO. So I guess Pretzel was kind of hoping she would be in the spot. So I went deeper because, again, I think trusting one horse in a maiden claiming 5 furlong turf sprint, you'd have to be borderline insane. So I didn't do that. I went deep here. I went to 1-2-5. I think T. Waltz sprinting, I think that speed that she showed on the dirt, even though it was for a little bit, I think could be even better and even quicker now cutting back 1 furlong and heading to the turf for the first time. And then the other one, I thought Blue Sparkle, there's a lot of pedigree here. And I'm kind of like, it kind of makes me worried that they have a Speightstown filly that has pedigree purchased for $49,000, which is a lot for this group. We're not talking maiden special weight. Kind of dropping into the spot. I don't know if this is Mike Trombetta saying this is where she belongs. And meanwhile, it's Three Diamonds Farm. And they, by Windstar, bred at Windstar. Like, I don't know what to make of her. Like, I don't know if I should just be throwing her out because any horse with that type of pedigree shouldn't be in this spot.
Mm-hmm.
But it also could be like Mike Trombetta's like, she just belongs here. And the fact Javier gets aboard, I just thought I needed to use her because I wasn't sure. Where did you go? I see you have a $10 win bet as well. Kind of walk us through where you went in the spot. I think it's a relatively decent field. It's weak, but I think you can make a case for a bunch.
So $5 win bet. Yeah, same difference. So I went, okay, the 1-2-5 are my second, third, fourth choices. So I don't hate it, but I looked at this and said, I don't trust anybody in this race. Like they're all like the 1 and the 2, it's like they've had their chances. The 5 on paper, pedigree wise, it says this horse should win. Right. But I'm with you. It's like, it also says this horse should be running in a maiden special weight. So it's a mixed bag, but certainly the 5 can run well and win here. I think the 6, another one that had her chances. What about the 10 Pink Shoelaces? Okay. I get it. 237 days off. That's not great. First race was at Monmouth on the dirt. Didn't run well. That's not great. I get it. Both things not great. Paco Lopez gets aboard. He's rode for this trainer 3 times in a year. All 3 of those horses have hit the board. 1 of them have won. This horse has early speed on the outside, going 5 furlongs at Gulfstream Park. I like it. I think this horse, as long as she breaks, I think she gets the lead. And I think they might have a tough time getting her because these horses aren't that good. I'm just going to take a swing here. It's more so of, I don't like any of the other runners. Let's take a swing with somebody trying something new with a jockey change that is eye-catching with speed on the turf at Gulfstream, and let's see what happens. So I went number 10, Pink Shoelaces, for the $5 win wager. Taking a small swing here. If you're gonna go with logic, I get it. 1-2-5 makes sense, but I'm just thinking outside the box here and hoping for an upset.
Yeah, there are just too many question marks with the 10.
Yeah.
That race I don't think was that bad. First of all, Farron Peterson, if you don't know who she is, she really kind of hopped on the landscape at Monmouth last year. So a little shout out to her. Skip Einhorn, the trainer. I don't know anything about Skip Einhorn. Maybe you do. But I assume Skip is a male. So I apologize if Skip's a female. But if Skip's a male, has finished in the money 3 or 4 times, and Paco does get the board. I don't hate it, but this is my worry when it comes to the layoffs. If you don't have speed, I'm okay with it because like it kind of maybe takes a little bit, a little while to get into the race. Or if you're older, if you've run 6, 7, 8, 9, or even more, if you like. It's again, I'm not a horse psychologist. I don't even know if that exists. It's very possible she gets to the gate and still doesn't even kind of remember. Does that make sense? Like, it was such a long time ago for her that it still might not click. She did show speed, though, and maybe the turf helps. I don't hate it because, like, I look at a horse like the 7, Exaggerated Moment. What do I need that horse for? I mean, no, thank you. The 6, that has Career Maiden probably written all over it. The 3, no thanks. So that probably would have been my 4th horse. I didn't mark down a 4th horse. I didn't think it was necessary, but I could understand it. Let's get to there. Well, there are a lot of comments here. Let's see. 4 track trips. Yeah, hopefully you guys can get to them. Keeneland, Saratoga, Kentucky down in the Breeders' Cup. Hopefully we'll be there, a few of them as well. So what about the 4? First time, blinkers, and Lasix. There's nothing I could say positive about this horse. I mean, Turfway Park, 77-1. Probably, I didn't watch any Turfway Park racing. I almost never do. I'm going to venture and say this was the worst maiden special weight performance of 2020 at Turfway Park. It's possible, right? It's at the maiden special weight level. It's very, very possible. This horse, I guess, broke okay. You can't finish 11th by 21, 77-1, and expect and use a horse like that. I mean, I'll let you go. That anything about that horse? I mean, good gracious.
I'm trying to think. Good sire. Oh, Dennis, you said that too. Yeah, like the sire. Yeah. I mean, trainer change. But I don't think that's just a huge thing now. I couldn't play the 4. I couldn't get there. I was trying to make something up. I can't get there.
How about this? If this horse wins, we'll think of something. I don't know what it is. I got to think of something. This has to be the worst horse I've seen on the card. Yeah. There's probably like 80 horses or so today, 90, I don't know, something like that. This has to be the worst one. And the only thing you could say is dropping down in class, but is it really like a maiden special weighted turf weight to this? I don't know if it's that much of a drop down. I'll be brutally honest. It's a little bit, not much. Mm-hmm. I wish we could have gotten a chance to see what Rocco Bowen thought of this filly. The only thing you could say, in all seriousness, at least she has the pedigree, like Flincher pedigree. Yeah. That the artificial, but that's about it. I mean, there's nothing about this horse's performance that you could like at all.
It's funny because when you go on rants like this, I'm just like Dennis. I'm like, come on, 4, win this race, do it.
It's not going to happen. I'm like 100% when I go on a rant about these horses. I mean, this horse is just horrible. 20-1. I wouldn't take 20-1 now. I would wait till I see 99-1 when the race is about to go off. Let's see. There are a few other ones. Dennis says, I say either the 2 wins or anyone. Well, Dennis, you just gave us every horse. You just said the 2 or anyone. Yes, someone will win the race. I guarantee you someone will win. Thank you. Everyone's talking about the mandatory payout tomorrow. Someone said Leonel Reyes did win 4 races. Yeah, Leo Reyes isn't bad. He's just he's pretty solid when let's see, Javier leaves and Jose leaves and Paco goes to Monmouth. He usually goes to Monmouth over the summer. Irad. It's not horrible, but so people are saying Marco Meneses scares me. Marcos Meneses is on the 9. 30-1. Miami Gold, the 9, an impressive 1. The 4 should hang out together on a farm. Dennis clarifies and says, well, what I'm trying to get at. Either the 2 wins or anyone can win. Yeah, I mean, someone's going to win this race. I don't know. Someone's. Anyone else you want to talk about before we recap yesterday? I mean, we're talking about. Think about this. We're talking about 30-1 morning line with Marcos Meneses. This horse hasn't run, and the trainer owns this horse, owns this filly.
Mhm.
She ran a 5 furlongs in 1 minute and 5 seconds. That could be the slowest 5 furlong workout I've ever seen. And we're spending time on this horse. Yeah. Good luck if you bet the 4 and 9. You might as well wait till you see 167 to 1.
The anger from Ricky when he has to talk about a horse he doesn't want to talk about. I love it.
Well, it's not. I don't mind talking about horses I didn't use or horses that I don't love if they make sense. There's nothing about these horses that makes sense. There's not one thing here. I mean, like, you know what it's like. Honestly, like I'm sure growing up, you did, you had recess or after school, you would race each other, right? It's like that's what kids do. They just run. That's like saying I have 5 skinny kids and 1 fat kid. I'll go with the fat kid because his great grandfather used to be fast. That's like what this is saying. It's just dreadful the fact we're talking about this. Let's move on to. I shouldn't say move on. Let's recap yesterday's card. Jared, if Leo Reyes wins on what horse is Leo on? Oh, on the 7. Okay, the 7 makes sense. Forget it. The 7 makes sense.
Yeah. It does. The 7 does. Yeah.
So if the 7 wins, makes plenty of sense. I could understand it. We need to end this and recap yesterday. We were close. We were really, really close yesterday. Just one race off, but it is what it is. This was the horse, Djibouti Kaba, the horse that I said is going to run a 67 or 100. I guess you saw the 100. Djibouti Kaba went gate to wire. We saw a lot of gate to wire finishes towards the end of the day. What did you think of this race? I think 3-1 was pretty fair.
Mm-hmm.
All things, or almost 3-1. 2.9. It's again Javier Castellano, folks. I don't know. He's so mild temper. You see Irad and he's always mixed up in photo finishes, and Javier's just smooth sailing, very quiet, has a little John Velasquez to him.
Mm-hmm.
Quietly having a great meet so far. What did you think of Djibouti Kaba, and maybe some of the other horses you used that did run well or didn't run so well?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty satisfied with this result. We knew the 2 was going to run really well here. Well, we knew the 2 had a shot to run really well here and get this kind of trip, and did. And so, that was good. I like Zodiac Princess a lot. And listen, ran pretty well, but competitive. They just could not get to the 2. So, we had this race, pretty right. And listen, the 2, anytime that horse is in a race of this caliber, going to have a shot because speed is always going to be tough on the turf. It's just, that's how it's going to always be. I thought this kind of went how we saw it. I mean, that's all you could say. I would play the 3 back. That wasn't a bad race for the 3.
Yeah, real quick for anyone interested in basketball, there are a lot of trades going on. Kyle Lowry is going to head to the 76ers. It looks like a few other ones. The Magic are trading everyone. Nikola Vucevic is on his way out. Evan Fournier is on his way out, which means Aaron Gordon will be on his way out. The Orlando Magic will be a G League team by about 3 o'clock. So the NBA trade deadline is today at 3 p.m. Yeah, we were together on Zodiac Princess. I don't think Zodiac Princess was horrible. I hated Feature Creature. I know you did. You liked Feature Creature a little bit. I hated that horse, so I'm kind of happy she was horrible. And I did like Vitayemi. I don't know how you say it. Mm-hmm. It's okay. She was okay. Nothing great. Yeah. Maybe it was a little disappointing, but at Djibouti Kaba, we kind of said that if she runs her best race, she's going to win. And that's what she did. She did it easily. Mm-hmm. Another gate-to-wire winner was the 7, Cairo Campaign. Aaron, you were on Cairo Campaign. That's who you put on top. I used the 2 American Ninja, who actually floated up in price. Mm-hmm. I didn't make a win bet, but I was close. And I think American Ninja ran pretty well. You didn't like that horse, but you did like Cairo Campaign, and you got that one right. 4-1. We'll be more than happy to take 4-1.
Yeah, we got the exacta home here, and it paid pretty darn well for what I thought came in. And yeah, I think it's another situation. Speed and Cairo Campaign got up there, and they just couldn't catch that horse. Simplify was second choice, and obviously rounded out the exacta, and really, there wasn't a lot of anxious moments for me watching this race as long as the speed held, because up the backside, it's like, well, that's where I would want the 7-1 to be. And, so it all worked out. I don't think this was the strongest race ever. I don't know if you use these horses moving forward or not. It just kind of depends on where they fall next time out. But it wasn't necessarily a bad race for either one of these. They did what they were supposed to do, in my eyes anyway. And, we'll just kind of analyze them where they fall next time out. But overall, this was just a average race, I would call it.
Yeah, as long as Aaron approves, then I approve. No, yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys are chiming in about the turf course. You know what? They do run a lot of turf races there, and it does, one of the great things about Saratoga, for example, they have 2 turf courses. They have an inner and an outer. Belmont, the same thing. This happens. And R. Stephanie says they're adding a synthetic surface after the championship meet. Yeah, it kind of, in a way, it's like turf or it's turf. It's no longer turf. It's like a combination.
Yeah.
It's just one of those situations where it does kind of get scrunched up, and maybe the fact they're adding a different surface will help. Cairo campaign was good though. Aaron texted me, you got the exacta. You did it, $1 for 18. Mm-hmm. Hey, you put up $1 and you win 18, you get 18 to 1. I'm all in. Yeah. That would have been a nice price there. This race, I was so thrilled to get home. I was unfortunate with the odds. I thought I'd get a little bit better. Mon Petit Chou, or I don't think. Oh God, what's his name? Calling the races. What's his name? Pete Aiello. I don't think Pete Aiello was calling this right. He's like, Mon Petit Chou. I'm like, no, it's 3 separate names. But so that was annoying. But nonetheless, this horse was dominant, and only one horse really rallied, and it was this one. Battle Cry was okay, but Battle Cry was a little bit further back. Mon Petit Chou looked good, and that was my second horse. Rest of the story, I don't know what the heck happened to that horse. Bumped, and that was it. What did you think of that race?
Yeah, I thought Mon Petit Chou, or however you'd like me to say it. No, I don't want to make you angry today, but I feel like that horse, that's one I want to play back. That horse looked really good. That was a very good call on your part. The rest of them maybe didn't run all that well, but the 3 definitely showed that there's some talent there. So, yeah, I've got kind of that horse circled to play next time. Again, this is another race. None of these races were great yesterday, but that's how you beat a bad field if you're a decent horse, right? Never in doubt, pounce at the top of the lane and just put it on them. So good race for the 3, and a good call by you there. I thought that was that was a solid performance.
Yeah, and unfortunately we have to get to the final race here. This was just brutal. I used the 6, the 10, the 5, and the 11. So I finished 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 6th. And the horse with the perfect trip, Especiela or whatever, Paco Lopez just sits, and once the rail kind of opened up, that was the end of it. It ruined a bunch of good, solid pick 4s because we had beaten some favorites along the way. I think we were in the couple $100 range to a bunch. The 10 City Magic really floated up in odds. I was a little surprised. Your horse, Court Curriculum, went off as the favorite. Mm-hmm. Great odds was, I mean, a lot of horses made sense, but of course, if we're looking at the odds, it was the one horse I didn't use. But that's okay. What did you think of the final race, the maiden claiming going 2 turns on the turf?
I mean, you got to give the winner credit. I mean, it's a bad race. We know that. But, man, he just galloped away from these other horses. So give the winner credit. I thought it was a good ride by Paco. Listen, people like to bag on him a lot, but I think when he's on a horse that has speed, he's tough. He usually gives him a pretty solid trip. It's when he's on something different where it's like, oh boy, this might be a little bit of a circus. But he gave his horse a perfect trip and just kind of dominated, right? I mean, this was never really a race. So I don't know, moving forward, I definitely don't want the losers of this race. It wasn't great. I don't know, the winner, maybe if they spot the horse logically, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even mind having the 6 back because I thought the 6 ran a perfect race. Oh, yes, his shirt says he ain't hitting them. I guess I don't know who came up with that. I also have a sweater in gray. I guess you or Jared, right, came up with that slogan.
No, I'll tell you the story. It was Oaklawn Park, and we have a friend that he always says he ain't hitting them like right out of the gate. And what he means is it's like this horse is going to win with a hand ride. Like this, there's no way they're going to beat this horse. He won't even get the whip out. So every time, you know, we see our horse coming into the lane, that's what we say. So that's the story behind it.
Yeah, so I didn't know that either. Dennis said I'd rather play a turtle. I don't disagree. I wouldn't mind a 6 back. Everyone else looks like a loser. And the 4, our Stephanie had the perfect trip. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the 4 is that much better. I think the 6 just kind of did all the work, and then the 4 just sucked it up, and won. You know what? This is the first time we've actually been under an hour. There's just tomorrow we will not be under an hour. We're gonna go at 10:30 tomorrow. Just because we have a lot to get to. And we will be doing Gulfstream. I was thinking about it, and the only reason we're not going to do Oaklawn is because there's such a big day on Saturday at Gulfstream. And to be honest, it's just going to be a little bit easier for me, not for him. Just a little bit easier for me to just stick at one track. And I'm sure Aaron, I know he's looking at time form as he's talking. So am I. And if I have to keep switching, it'll just be a little bit easier. So we're going to stick to Florida. And for the most part, this is pretty much it at Gulfstream. Like after the Florida Derby, I think they might have like another week or two, right, for the championship meet, or do they have a little bit more?
The championship meet ends Sunday.
Okay, yeah. So it ends Sunday, right? So like this is it. I mean, they'll be racing. I think they'll maybe take like a week or two off or whatever, and then they'll come back and they'll have regular racing. But all the good horses are going to ship north, especially the turf ones. You'll see them at Belmont. And things like that.
So let me get to a couple of the Florida Derby comments just as a preview of the show tomorrow real quick, because there's a couple coming in. People are excited about it, and they should be. Is Shug's horse a single? We'll get to that. My initial reaction is no, Greatest Honor is not a single.
I will also say no, but okay. I plan on going short.
I'm with you. We don't want to spoil the show tomorrow, and I don't want to know your opinions, and I know you don't want to know mine. So
yeah, I won't be watching Blinkers Off tonight. Right. If you are interested before, watch Blinkers Off. But Jared might give you a Josie Carroll horse, so just future warning. You might hear Josie Carroll.
Just real quick, Union Rags is. He's a Belmont winner from way long ago. I think you mean Nova Rags, Jared. And we might talk about Nova Rags, who is the sire of Union Rags.
Yeah, I think Nova Rags might be sitting on a big one. If Union Rags is sitting on a big one, that would be the biggest story in the history of horse racing, because I'm pretty sure Union Rags has been retired for how many years now?
Yeah. He won, let's see, he beat Peter. That would have been 2000.
I was going to say, was that 9?
I want to say, I thought it was 2012.
No, I was going a little bit earlier. I was going to say we're about a decade though. I was going to say like 10. He was in that. He was in a very good crop. He was in there with I'll Have Another, Bodemeister, Painter, Union Rags. Here I'm looking here. What year? When was Bluegrass Cat? Was Bluegrass Cat in that mix as well, or was that earlier?
I was earlier. I want to say, 2012. He won.
Bluegrass Cat is older, probably. Bluegrass Cat was foaled in 2003 and won in 2006. Okay, so we're a few years before. I read Bluegrass Cat is, a quick story on Bluegrass Cat. My dad does these Kentucky Derby future wagering pools that he used to do a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
They first issued it. I think the first one goes out like right after the Breeders' Cup or something like that, and they got it from like Circa. And he said, just pick a bunch of random horses. I didn't know what I was doing. It was 2006, or 2005, because this was 2005. I was 9. I said, I don't know. I said, there must be a horse that's blue and looks like a cat. Let's take this one. He was like 50-1, and Bluegrass Cat won. Ended up going off, I think, 6-1. Don't quote me on 6-1, but something in that range. And we were able to get 50-1. we took like 4 or 5, and that kind of like got me into the Derby at the beginning. So Bluegrass Cat always has a special to me. Jared, you keep going with this 5, Causeway Joan. I do like Causeway Jones, and I put that horse on top, but I also used 3 others. The best performance for Causeway Jones was over a sloppy track. And I really should have won 13-1 last time out for Causeway Jones. Yes, hopefully Causeway Jones.
I gotta talk about Bluegrass Cat real quick.
Okay.
We should always finish early because this has been my favorite part of the show because I like talking about.
We just never get a chance to.
I know. All right, so it was the 2006 Kentucky Derby. You were right the first time. The winner of the race was Barbaro, so that's kind of special. Bluegrass Cat was actually 30-1. I've got the chart pulled up here. Barbaro won at 6-1. Bluegrass Cat.
Oh, okay.
And then a horse by the name of Steppenwolfer, who was owned by someone from Springfield, Missouri, just right up the street, was 3rd. And I actually had that. And listen, in 2006, I knew nothing about racing whatsoever. I was in Vegas, okay? And we bet Steppenwolfer because of the Springfield thing. We bet the horse across the board. Trust me, I had no idea what I'm doing. So we bet $2 across the board. He returned $7.80. So I made $1.80 on this Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy that after all this, like I can relay. I remember it was probably the first time I'd been to my dad's office. It was a long time ago. And it was like at the end of the day, and he's like, let's pick a couple horses. And I was like, yeah, this Bluegrass Cat horse seems interesting. And to this day, Bluegrass Cat is still a pretty decent sire. I mean, we're talking like many, 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 many years later. And again, that was back in 2005, I think, when we first looked, like when it first came out. And then, the 2006 Derby.
And Dennis, just a shout out to Dennis real quick, the rider of Steppenwolfer who finished 3rd that day, Robbie Alvarado, your favorite jockey. And Ramon Dominguez is on Bluegrass Cat, who was a great jockey.
Yeah, Ramon Dominguez is by far my favorite jockey of all time. I know a lot of people say Cordero. I'm not saying he's better. I'm just saying you got to keep in mind I'm young. So when he was in his prime, I was a little boy. I'm happy we got a chance to do this because tomorrow there won't be any. Robbie used to be fantastic. Yeah, he's not. The same.
He was the rider of Curlin back in 2007 as well.
You know who used to be good too? Calvin Burrell.
That's true.
Kent DeSormo also used to be pretty good.
Calvin Burrell, unbelievable. That guy has won 3 Kentucky Derbies.
Yeah, no, it is pretty incredible, and his name and the way he rides up the rail, and we're not going to get into it. Tomorrow we have all these stakes races to cover. If you're looking for stakes action from anywhere but Gulfstream Park, good luck because it's not going to happen here. Yeah. We're going to do the last 4 at Gulfstream tomorrow just to kind of keep it, and then we'll do our Sweet 16 and who we think is going to make it out into the Elite 8. Maybe even Final 4. We'll see how confident we get. Hint. Haven't decided who I'm going to take in the Syracuse game yet. I was watching film this morning on Houston, and they can offensive rebound. One of the weaknesses for Syracuse. But Syracuse is making shots, so we'll see. Everyone take care. Thursday afternoon here. If you're playing Gulfstream Park, take a look at what we just put together. You guys can always come back to the stream and see what we're doing at the bottom, or you can check out racingdudes.com. Aaron has his picks from everywhere across the country, as always. And I have my product right there, Ricky's Rockets. You could scroll to the bottom of the article, and it's right there as well. Luckily for me, I don't have as much work. There's no fairgrounds to cover. I just have 3 tracks to worry about for Saturday, not 4, which is good. But the springtime might get a little dicey because we'll have Gulfstream, we'll have Keeneland, we'll have Belmont. I'm going to have to tell Aaron that I can't do 5. So we might have to we might have to trim one out. There's not enough time. There's just not enough time in the day to be doing that much. We'll try to make it work. It's always interesting, obviously, and then Churchill Downs opens up as well. So April and into May are always a little interesting. We will see you guys bright and early tomorrow. We're going to go at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Yes, Belmont opens up 4/22, right? Just less than a month from now. I think Aqueduct, they probably end, I'm guessing, around like the 12th or 13th or whatever. They'll give those guys a couple days. So that will do it. Good luck again today playing Gulfstream Park and Oaklawn Park. If you wanted to play that, you could check that out again at racingdudes.com. And we'll be back bright and early with tons of Florida Derby Day preview. There's a guide, I believe, that's coming out. I'm still waiting for another edition of the consensus picks. Aaron told me they'd be happening, but they haven't. We'll have a conversation off air. I'm still in the leaderboard. I'm still on top of the leaderboard. So if we just stopped it at 1, I'll take the crown. But I like to be challenged. I feel like the UFC fighter that, I want to take on another challenge, and I want to see if anyone can catch up. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen here. Maybe another Kentucky Derby prep. We can do it for. We'll see. We'll let the two boss men decide. We will see you guys tomorrow, 10:30, covering Gulfstream Park, Sweet 16 action, stakes action, and the late pick 4 or the last 4 races at Gulfstream. Friday, March 26th. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and good luck playing if you are playing any of the tracks today across the country. Take care, everyone.